Baseball is dead.
Rest in peace.
The Thursday episode 498. Wow.
So close.
Can't believe it. The reaction so far on Twitter, Dallas, is that I think people are like, well, we can't celebrate 500 episodes of Baseball is Dead because it's not 500 episodes of Baseball is Dead, but like 500 episodes of us together is something to be celebrated.
I believe so.
Yeah.
That's fair. That's fair. It's kind of like we're in the leap year of episodes right now, right?
Yeah.
Like it could be 200-ish, it could be 3, it could be 500, we're depending on what year you were born, you could celebrate either milestone with us.
Yeah, we're on episode 201 of Baseball is Dead, but we're on episode of 498 of us together.
Collectively.
Yeah. That's something to be celebrated, It's marriage.
It's crazy to think that over 1 year's worth of days, we've just sat and talked baseball for many, many hours.
Many hours. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Nothing I didn't think we couldn't handle. Nothing I didn't think we couldn't achieve.
Yeah. Here we are. What is it? What is it? Season 8?
Yeah. Season 8. I just had that realization walking through the stadium yesterday because my buddy, Johnny Dosco, the guy who does radio with us, was like, yeah, hey, you got the pod again tomorrow? Like, you trying to go grab some breakfast? And I was like, yeah. He was like, how long have you been doing that with you and your buddy? And I was like, fuck, man. What is this, 24? Like, and I started counting back and I was like, almost a fucking decade, dude. Mm-hmm. Damn. Yeah.
Yeah. And that doesn't mean that an old dog can't learn new tricks, as they say. Because just before we came on the air, we were discussing a new segment that we're going to introduce next week, Jake?
Yeah, next Thursday. Let's do it.
Next Thursday, Jake, I'll let you introduce what it is because this is your brainchild.
Yeah, so it's basically Family Feud, and shout out Corey for the assist on this one, but we'll have Jayhay basically facilitating a Family Feud-style game show between Dallas and Jared. We'll pick a topic, we'll put out a survey to 100 people, collect the answers, and then come up with a scoring system.
I like that. I absolutely love. I mean, I don't want to bring it up, and it's probably not the time to talk about my record-setting achievement and performance on Family Feud. This isn't the moment to tell you that I hold the absolute high water mark for point total. That's not what this conversation's about. I just want to tell you how fucking excited I am for this. I got a question though, logistically.
Sure.
So we're pumping the poll out and then we're doing the show, because I don't know that I can trust Jared to not farm the answers and then come prepared. I don't. How are we doing?
What do you mean? I'm a man of integrity.
The answers will be confidential. It'll be between me and Jayhay.
Yeah. Also,
that makes me feel so much better. That makes me feel so much better.
I've seen this like trend on TikTok where it is like Family Feud-ish. But it would kind of, instead of pitting me and Dallas against each other, we would be collectively teaming up to try and get 200 points. So like whoever went first, it would be like, the one that I saw was like name a team. This was like for all 4 sports, but it was like name a team that has orange in their logo. Mm-hmm. And I think like Giants. Mets was the top answer. And then I forget what the other answer was. It was like the Orioles. Yeah. And then they kind of collected that way. But the goal was for how both people get to 200 points.
Well, that's
how
would
ask them.
Yeah. That's how the end of Family Feud is. Like, you're trying to get to the 200 point mark. So when I scored 193 points all on my own and only needed 7 from my other teammate. Yeah. That's what you're trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm down for either way. Either way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cause I think, you know what I think it could almost turn into like a beat the freeze. Like who's coming with better answers? Who's going to be able to compile better numbers? Like, we could maybe even get the Gravediggers on this.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, they'll be the survey takers.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So we can get.
Did you know that the freeze retired? Did you know that?
What? No, I just watched. Did he?
Yeah, he retired last year.
It must have been an old video.
Either that, or if they're still doing the freeze, then it's someone new. Yeah. So the you talked about how you're going to do your Grounds Crew YouTube series. The freeze was originally on the Grounds Crew, and they were just like, oh, yeah, because this guy's a track star. Okay. I think it started in 2016 or 2017. And then he did it every year up until I believe he retired last year.
Wow. Well, shout out the freeze.
Yeah. But I think they want to continue it just with somebody else.
Can you do that? I mean,
I think you can.
Will that person be named the freeze, or will,
I don't know.
Like, is it that he or she now dons the mask and they become the freeze, or is it a new character because the freeze is retired?
It's a good question. Is it the Braves or the Guardians that do the freeze? It's the Guardians?
No, it's the Braves.
No, it's Braves.
Braves. Okay.
Yeah, Guards do the hot dog race. Shout out Mustard, by the way. Shout out Mustard.
Big shout out to Mustard.
3, not 1 and not 2, but 3 straight W's with your boy in the house. Suck on that, Dre Knott. Wear it. Onion, beat it. Ketchup, Fucking Mustaso, El Champion. What a fucking 3-day performance by Mustard. My God, talk about dressing it up.
Mustard's been taking it seriously this year.
Well, Mustard took it personal, right? You get sent down to the minor leagues last year, and you're bumming around with some of those push pumps. Like, that's not where Mustard belongs. Not at all.
Yeah. Who do you think is the all-time favorite in like the hot dog race?
I believe the all-time champ is Ketchup. I believe. I could be wrong. I like to think of every year as a new year, a new slate. And right now, Mustard making a good push.
Like I just searched for hot dog race all-time stats, and all I'm getting is Joey Chestnut stuff.
Makes sense. You got to love that. Anytime you type in the word hot dog into Google and your face pops up.
Yeah.
Guess that could be good or bad.
Yeah. The famous racing sausages in Milwaukee. This is, they have an update. Like, I don't know if the fucking Brewers have been on the road for a while. If this doesn't seem right, but they haven't updated it. The hot dog has 2 wins. The Italian sausage has 2 wins. The Polish sausage has 1 win, and the Brat has 2 wins.
Yeah. Well, so you're talking sausage race. Yeah,
right. This is different.
Yeah, and I'm talking.
I know
hot dog.
I know you're talking the hot dog race. I'm just saying that these are the only statistics that I see available to the public right now. Unfortunately.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised to find out that Ketchup and Onion are suppressing the statistics based on the performance of Mustard out of the gate early. It makes total sense. And again, you follow the money back to Dre Knott. That's right.
Fan of the program.
Fan of the program. Friend of the program. Dre's fucking awesome.
Last time I saw Dre was, I want to say, last year when I was in Chicago. Caught him at Wrigley, walking around with his family outside the ballpark.
He's he's one of those dudes where I hope, and I know it because I see it, but I hope the folks who watch Dre do what he does understand how important he is to that club. And just what a great fucking job he does, and how much those players love him and just respect the way he goes about his business. Because you can't fake it. You can't fake how he connects with guys and what they're willing to talk about and the relationships he has with guys. And I love it. I have a lot of respect for him. A lot of professional respect. I mean, he's my boy outside of the field, but yeah. Dre's a stand-up solid dude. He just really shitty at picking condiments. It's simple, right? Doesn't make him a bad guy. Doesn't make him a bad guy.
No,
just makes him an idiot.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Should we pause and wait for Jayhay? Oh,
no. Jayhay's here.
He's here. There he is.
What are you waiting on?
There he is. Justin Havens. The Justin Havens. Before we get into any news, Justin Havens, who I was with last night, by the way, had a nice company dinner. Shout out to the folks at Underdog. we got quite the force going here at Underdog with the team that we've kind of established on the baseball side of things. Very excited for what we have coming to you. I know I saw something in the Baseball is Dead Reddit the other day about asking for more content, and folks were talking about how, like, I did come on during the Baseball is Dead era, so I didn't see the out of podcast content that, the wiffle ball stuff and everything like that. Well, now that we're with Underdog, there will be a lot of that, probably more than we've ever had. I don't know if I should be revealing this, but I'm going to anyway. At the All-Star game, Dallas, there is talks about a wiffle ball home run derby with a sizable cash prize. And I asked, am I allowed to participate? And the answer was yes. So if you're going to be at the All-Star game in Dallas, Tejas, there very well might be an Underdog wiffle ball home run derby, but you got to get through the champ if you're going to take down the cash prize. That means you can participate too, Dallas. Participation trophies are still a thing in 2024. If are you going to be there, or you got things to do, or
are you going to be trying to? Are you going to be hitting from second base? Because it sounds like you're just anointing
that's very
yourself.
funny. Yeah, that's very funny. I don't know if you've seen any highlights of me hitting wiffle balls, but yeah, like wherever the fence is, you can pretty much double it, and I'll still win.
No, I actually haven't seen any of those highlights, because much like your American Legion performance, or excuse me, the no hitter in wherever
it was Babe Ruth,
the fuck USA. There's no documentation of
this. It was Babe Ruth League All-Star. Actually, it wasn't even just a regular game; it was an All-Star game, and I threw the no hitter for 13 strikeouts.
Shout out Revere.
Shout out Revere. You can still hear the screams. Yeah,
yeah. You know how it goes, Jared. I literally crushed a wiffle ball off of you. Like, we couldn't play anymore.
It was
right? It was like Sandlot-esque. Like, I hit the ball into the beast's backyard.
Trust me when I tell you, Scout's honor, when he crushed a loopy, soft curveball, yes, I'll give him that.
Crushed.
But when I threw the fastball, I don't even think he fouled it off. Like, there's all footage of this. Like, he can dance around and say that there's no record of my Babe Ruth All-Star game no-hitter, but like him facing me in wiffle ball, which, by the way, this doesn't mean anything because it's a home run derby. We're not facing each other in actual wiffle ball. But
you're bragging about punching a guy out who was wearing a bathrobe, who had 3 to 4 bong rips in him by 7 a.m. and maybe
that's all self-inflicted. Maybe you should have more conditioning and more
buddy. You don't play
restraint.
This game. You don't play this game on milk and
substances.
You don't play this game on milk and cookies, boys.
Yeah. But the home run derby at the All-Star game, that's going to be something if and when it takes place.
No, the if and when.
No, it's taking place. All right, it's taking place.
Yeah.
I think we should also look into kind of like an opposite field, like line drive derby.
Yeah. Hard ground ball, low line drive derby.
For those of us who are more like kind of like spray hitters, you know? Just something else to think about. I know the derby. I was there for the derby discussion, but I think that would be cool too.
Yeah. And you know what, Jared? If we tie, I think we could probably just do the tiebreaker. Whoever can throw the ball the farthest, a ball the farthest. And if you want,
a wiffle ball or a baseball?
Either. Doesn't matter. Whatever you want.
All right. Yeah. All right. If it's wiffle ball, then I could probably beat you. Baseball, I know I can't.
You're going to throw a wiffle ball farther than I am?
Yeah.
So why would you be able to throw a wiffle ball farther than me, but not a baseball?
Because it's a skill that you don't possess.
Throwing a wiffle ball?
Mm-hmm.
I pray for your science teacher. Can you make this make sense to me?
Yeah.
Explain this to me like I am the idiot I am, please.
There is a specific way to throw a wiffle ball for distance.
I'm aware.
That I trust you don't know how. You're a blitzball guy. You are.
Buddy,
you're a blitzball
what
guy.
Came before blitzball, Jared? You know.
Wiffle ball.
The wiffle ball. The wiffle ball.
Yes.
I am well versed in the wiffle. Well versed in the wiffle. You can ask the folks over at Pastime Tattoo in Oakland, California, just how well versed in the wiffle I am.
Well, I mean, you probably had like the rinky-dink fake wiffle balls in Stockton. Like you didn't have like the real ones growing up. So I don't even trust that. Like there's probably a blank space in your childhood where you weren't even using real wiffle balls.
Pretty sure at Kmart, those were on the end of every toy aisle. The fucking wiffle ball standards, the paper box with the wiffle ball and the bat on top. Grab and go. You got your yellow bat with just a little wiffle ball paper box on top of it, and that's all you rocked, buddy.
We'll see. Yeah. I just got to work on my cardio. I just got to work on my cardio. The Barstool Home Run Derby, which I'm sure people listening to this right now being like, oh, I saw you lose in the finals. I ran out of gas, dude. There was 8 participants, and in the first round, I out-homered the entire first round combined. That's a fact.
Out of gas.
I ran out of gas. I got to work on my cardio. It's like just like you have to work on being able to throw a wiffle ball because you can't. I will be working on my cardio for this home run derby because I gassed out. I left it all out there. I put on a show for the fans. I was the Josh Hamilton of that home run derby because, like I said, 8 participants in the first round. I hit more home runs than the other 7 participants combined. That's
mix in a fucking lap and mix in a sit up.
Yeah, I'm gonna be doing some sit ups
through the event because I'm not taking the W because you fucking gas out. I'm not taking the W because you just can't compete. That's not how I roll. I need you tip top shape. I'm in
the gym. I'm preparing for this.
When I put your skin up on my wall, I don't want it all fucking flabby and cottage cheesy.
I'm not worried about you. I'm worried about like, you know, the kid from Missouri that his career is like, you know how like they have like the dudes that they don't have jobs, they just play poker for a living. Like there's someone out there that just participates in cash prize home run derby wiffle ball tournaments like that. So that person's going to fly in and that's the guy that I got to worry about. I'm not worried about you.
Yeah, and you know what? That's the best part.
I think that's just like literally one person though.
Yeah, it is.
I think the whole industry can only be sustained. It can only sustain one person doing that, I think.
Yeah. But that guy exists. I know he's out there. I don't know his name. I've never heard of him.
No.
I know he's lurking in the shadows somewhere. So
we'll
see. We'll see how it goes. But all that to say, last night, the Underdog Company meeting that we had, dinner, a lot of talent there in terms of the behind the scenes folks. A lot of producers, a lot of editors. And those people are on board because we are looking to not just put out content from a podcast perspective. We are going to be putting out all kinds of content outside of the podcast as well. And to those people that said, I wish I was around for the starting 9 days because it looks like they did a lot of cool stuff back then. Well, guess what? We're going to be doing a lot of cool stuff now with Underdog, with Baseball's Dead, with Dallas Braden losing the finals to me in the wiffle ball home run derby.
We can dream. It's cute. That's cute.
We can dream that you'll make it to the finals. Yeah. I hope you get there. Hope to see you there, pal. Hope to see you there.
Oh, Jake, they're so cute at this age, Jake. They're so cute at this age. I love it.
I mean, like, I've seen you play softball. Like, I know you can hit a softball. It's just a different game, dude.
I hit a softball game. A country fucking mile. A country mile. People look at me and they're like, oh, slap lefty, go on the other. Whoa. Thunder. Yeah. I give the people what they want, bud. Give the people what they want. And there's no reason the people are going to miss out in Texas this year. No reason.
Yeah, be there.
I think we're going to be doing a live show. Dallas does Dallas?
Buddy. Dallas does Dallas. I think we're doing a live show there. It's hard for a national show to do a live show because you don't know where your audience is, but the All-Star game seems like a good fit. Also, I know spring training is. When we went to spring training, we did a live show in Arizona and they had to like sneak us out of the back like we were the Beatles. It was crazy.
Yeah, dude.
We had to go somewhere. I forget where we had to go, but we were on like a strict time schedule. And we had to like fucking sneak out the back to the tour bus.
So we can talk about this more offline, but I could potentially lock us into a really nice spot at Texas Live, right outside of the ballpark.
Ooh,
right outside of the ballpark.
I like that.
Yeah, a lot of space.
I like that.
A lot of TVs. A lot of fun to be had. A lot of fun to be had because that place is going to be fucking popping. Promise you that.
People forget I have a Texas tattoo, Dallas.
Every
time someone asks me what it means, I give them a different answer every time.
Do you know what it means at this point? Or are you like a chick who's dyed her hair since she was 14 and has no idea what her natural hair color is?
It's taken on multiple meanings. I know what the original meaning is. But if you ask me right now, I'd be like, well, Stone Cold Steve Austin has a Texas tattoo. Why not?
So it's whatever you want it to be. It can be whatever
it's whatever you want it to be.
Yeah.
When I win that fucking home run derby, that tattoo is going to represent my home run derby victory.
So cute.
People are going to be like, "Oh, why do you have a tattoo of Texas?" And be like, "Well, let me tell you a little story about a home run derby at the All-Star game in 2024."
How about this? If you're lucky enough to make it to the finals against me and you lose,
lucky dude,
you'll have to get. I want you to get.
If Josh Hamilton was lucky enough to make it to the finals in 2008.
That's what I want. I want you to get a wiffle ball tattoo with the bat, and the little wooden and the little paper holder for the ball, just like I described. I want you to get that tattooed.
Done.
Maybe on your lower back, and above it.
No, on the back.
Okay, maybe just something small on the arm. Not on the neck.
I don't have any room on my arms anymore.
So we'll go, and it'll just say second place right above it, second place or runner up. However we want to. However you'd like to
probably
label
say champion.
The second place effort.
It'll probably say champion. Yeah. It'll probably say champion.
Oh, man. I can't wait for you to have to buy me that Barry Bonds jersey, too.
Yeah. All right, fine. Yeah, I'll do a Barry Bonds jersey bet with you for the Derby. Whoever places higher gets the Bonds jersey.
Oh, done.
Yeah, you're gonna flame out, you fucking stoner. Fuck.
You're gonna get fucking torched. I can't. You know what I'm gonna do?
Dude can't even breathe by the second round.
You're gonna get videos of me 3 a.m.
Yeah.
Sleeves up, going to fucking work. I'm gonna haunt.
Where are you right now? Where are you guys? You're in New York.
I'm in the cage.
He's in New York right now. Yeah.
I'm in the cage working.
I mean, I'll have you know right now that I have a wiffle ball bat in close proximity to me at all times. There's one right outside the door.
Well, lucky for me, I get to show up to a baseball field every day.
Is that for like safety and self-defense purposes, like home defense?
It's for comfort. It's for comfort, and you know, you wake up. Some people grab for a cup of coffee. I grab for a wiffle ball bat. So you'll see.
Oh, it's gonna be great. This is gonna be great.
Yeah, it is. I'm gonna get a fucking free jersey. I'm gonna get a cash prize. You're going to get a tattoo of my signature on your ass.
That's what you're getting.
Yep. Stakes are high. Stakes are high.
Never been higher. I mean, I have stakes. Never been higher.
Speaking of Underdog, the MLB season is in full swing and Underdog Fantasy wants to make it a lot more interesting. Underdog Fantasy is the easiest place to play fantasy sports. Oh, by the way, did I remember this correctly? Are they going to be able to put on the Underdog Fantasy app the Home Run Derby? Were we talking about that last night, Jayhay?
I don't recall that, if I'm being honest. But that I might have floated out of the convo with that. Yeah.
Okay, you might have headed back to greener pastures, but I believe there was a discussion about being able to
stream that.
To like be able to get in on the action on the app.
Like bet on Dallas Braden. Or against.
Yeah, I mean, if you're into making money, Jayhay, right? Yes.
Higher, lower for round totals. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh God. Oh my God. I'm gonna become the godfather to so many children. It's gonna be great.
I mean, now I have questions. Like, if that's the case, like say like my first round over under is going to be like 55.5. Like if I take the over, can I bet on myself?
Why wouldn't you be able to?
That feels like one of those where the answer would be no.
Yeah, like I feel like I can't take the under and then hit one and be like, oh, I gassed out. But I did place $1 million. You would only be able
to bet on yourself to win, to reach the mark. Right, like if you're betting the over.
Yeah, we're not trying to. We don't want a Jonte Porter thing,
right?
Yeah,
right. But if we can get that on the app, I mean, hammer those highs on me.
Can we? I know that's basketball related, but seriously,
yeah, that was crazy. Underdog Fantasy is the easiest place to play fantasy sports. Playing their pick'em game is as simple as selecting higher or lower on player stats, strikeouts, total bases, home runs, and so much more. Make entries of all baseball, or you can mix and match across your favorite sports. You can win up to 100 times your money, and it's a ton of fun. And it'll be a ton of fun if we can get this going for the Home Run Derby at the All-Star Game. Make sure you sign up with the promo code Jared, Jared, and Underdog will double your first deposit up to $100. That is Underdog Fantasy, promo code Jared. That's going to be fun. That's going to be a fun time. What's not a fun time, fellas, is if you're a Giants fan who is excited about Blake Snell joining the San Francisco Giants.
That is tough news for San Francisco Giants fans. But we discussed this yesterday, and I think it bears repeating. You cannot expect the Ferrari to roll out of the garage and take it to red line and expect everything to just work out totally fine. Like, you're not even warm the thing up. And Blake Snell's a Ferrari. You might think he's something. He's a Ferrari. He's top end. And,
I get PTSD when you say that. Do you know why?
Why? Because of the.
Because what?
From the Ferrari?
Well, because Jakey, maybe you remember this, but when the Red Sox were benching Pablo Sandoval, his agent came out and said, "How do you leave the Ferrari in the garage?" That's what he said.
I love that. I love that. But if you just don't have the time, there's just something that I want people to understand about trying to replicate, duplicate, simulate a spring and what that means for a pitcher, and to be out there moving around in spring training. Like, I know this is super trivial, but the first 3-4 days when you get back out there and you're shagging BP and you're doing dumb shit like that, like just getting used to moving around in cleats takes 3 days consistently, right? Your lower back might be barking a little bit just because, well, what have you been doing the entire offseason? You haven't been shagging BP. That's what you haven't been doing. So just preparing the body in small ways allows you to get into what everybody calls baseball shape. We all understand that. But for Blake Snell, a guy who is going to be responsible for leading this pitching staff, he and Logan Webb, you want to make sure that he's got time to get himself right. And he just hasn't had that opportunity. And so he has to hit the ground running in game speed. These games matter. They count. Got to win them. And he's just physically not in a place where he can go out and compete to that level with that sort of effort behind it and be in a safe place. And that's where we're at right now. That is where we're at right now. He did not have the spring necessary to get his body ramped up to a point where he can answer the bell every 5 days, especially early. And now he's paying for it. And it's brutal. It's terrible, because you want to believe that they're like, oh, does it have anything to do with anything else? Is this just something that would have happened regardless of him having a full spring under his belt? And I think everybody involved knows the answer.
What are they calling the injury?
It's was it adductor? Not adductor.
I mean, what's the likelihood here that they're shutting him down so that he can kind of reset and get right?
I mean,
versus he's injured.
That's a possibility, but that would beg the question: why didn't you come up with this earlier? Why didn't you think about keeping him in Arizona? Or
maybe he said, "I'm ready to go." Maybe he probably felt the pressure of, all right, you're paying me a ton of money. It's a short deal. Like, I want to contribute now. Because he has an opt-out after this year. Yeah.
Yeah. But that's so that's all part of like, hey, look, we didn't arrive at our destination in time for me to start the race the way that we wanted me to start the race. You know that as the team who brought me in. I know that as the player, the other side of this negotiation. So what are we talking about here? Right? We all know why we're here. We all know why we're in this spot. So yeah, there's a possibility that it's just more about reeling him in and trying to get him a fresh start and trying to regroup. But I also think that there's realness to the injury. And I think a lot of it has to do with not being able to prepare.
The reason I would say real on the injury is because the Giants subsequently went with a bullpen game when he was scratched. And I think that if it was kind of like a get this guy some time to figure it out sort of thing, they would have plotted that a little bit differently so that they weren't forced to kind of scramble in their planning in that regard. So I would vote real, not to say like all the other stuff that Dallas said about the preparation and stuff, like sure, absolutely, sure. But I think this is a real injury coupled with the previous poor performance.
Yeah. I mean, it makes it all the easier to get back to the drawing board, right? Like, oh man, late start, slow start. Things aren't working well. A little bit of a nagging injury. Why don't we take this time to just reel it in and gather ourselves and make sure that when you do go back out there, you're comfortable, you feel great, and we can go from there. That's
so.
And because I mean, Logan Webb is throwing the absolute piss out of the baseball right now. The absolute piss. So getting a guy like Blake Snell back healthy, I'm not saying that Logan Webb and the rest of the guys in the rotation are going to be able to sustain what the Giants are trying to do, but you'd like to think that could be the case. I mean, tough division. We understand. Blake Snell would really help. We talk about not being able to win a division in April, but you could lose it. I don't know that that's necessarily the case, but you'd like to have the best shot possible. And having a healthy Blake Snell gives you that.
So what shouldn't be factored in here is that this injury contributed to his shitty first 3 starts, because Bomel was the one that said it was a recent bullpen that he kind of like had a tugging with the groin and he tried to pitch through it. Blake Snell himself was asked, how long is this going to be? And he said, I'm hoping for 2 weeks, but I really have no idea. And Bomel said it's not great. So,
well, it said a moderate, right? A moderate strain.
Mm-hmm.
So like if you just close your eyes and try to replay your favorite pharmaceutical commercial over in your head, mild to moderate or moderate to severe reactions. Like, so when you're talking about moderate to severe, it's like best case scenario, this is a middle grade injury here. And if it's mild to moderate, it's like, well, it's not mild. It's more moderate, which means it's not just a, 2-week deal. This could be a little longer. And that sucks. That absolutely sucks, because we're talking about a guy who didn't come out of the gate ready, is suffering for it now physically, and is going to take that much longer to get himself back to where he was before the injury happened, let alone getting back there and then getting better and getting to a point where he can take the brunt of the remainder of the season.
Yeah. Well,
horrible news.
It's not great for them, but not that it's a positive. Logan Webb looks great. How about that Jordan Hicks signing? Going out there saying, hey, we're going to make you a starter, my guy. 5 starts. He's got a sub-2. It's a 161. The whip is under 1. Surprisingly, though, there's not a lot of guys in this rotation that are punching guys out. Like, they're not a big strikeout rotation. Which, does that surprise you at all?
But we talked about that, right? When we talked about the team construction to start the season, where it was very much by design that, well, I mean, some of it was by design that they already had these guys on the roster, and the others, in the case of Hicks, they went out and got. But the Matt Chapman, Nick Ahmed, left side of the infield defensively, let's lean into the ground balls. Let's lean into letting them suck up everything that goes on that side, because our horse is already designed to pitch that way anyway. So I know it doesn't surprise me. That they're so mediocre overall is a little bit surprising, but the Jordan Hicks signing looks great. If he's anything close to this good of a pitcher, he's going to earn them that contract in like a season and a half of the 4-year deal.
This is Jay. This pisses me off, but this is why the Blake Snell thing is like, really right now? Right now? Because Logan Webb, what was it, fucking 19, 20 scoreless inning streak he's riding right now? And the way that Jordan Hicks is sitting at a 1.5. Like, you mean to tell me that having Blake Snell throwing the baseball well over his starts wouldn't make a difference. Like the Giants could very well be sitting at the top of this division. Get it. It's fucking the end of April, but still could look a hell of a lot different. A hell of a lot different.
Did Ryan Walker, did he start the game that Snell got scratched? He did?
Yeah.
I mean, that's a guy maybe you stretch.
Well, that's the other thing is who do you have down there in that bullpen that you feel you could probably extend out? You could start to work out. And maybe that's the start of that, because I don't know that they're in a spot right now based on the way that they've operated in the past. They're not going to go and make a move right now. They're not going to go and get somebody right now.
No, nor should they.
But it will be interesting to see if the Snell thing persists and how long it persists if they decide, because I think that right there will tell you just where they're at.
Yeah.
Well, and one of their better pitching prospects is sitting at AAA with a 1.53 ERA too. And I think Melvin was asked the question about Mason Black is his name, but he said he could very well be an option, but he wasn't sure at the time, which is, pretty standard response. But, they already have Harrison pitching up at the MLB level in terms of pitching prospects. Might get a look at another one.
Harrison not pitched well so far.
No. But he has
not.
been there.
He was definitely there. No doubt.
Yeah.
No one could ever dispute that. But you look around and of the teams that were linked to, like, let's say the Angels signed a Blake Snell and he goes down. That is far more devastating to the Angels than, say, the Giants when you have Logan Webb and Jordan Hicks pitching as well as they have so far. So it sucks, but it's an opportunity for other guys to step up. Is it going to be a bullpen game, a TBD moving forward? Is it going to be something where we stretch out an opener to fill that void? They've got their options. But also you kind of look at the division, you look at the standings, and while you can say, all right, well, we have two dogs at the top of the rotation that are handling the load, so to speak, but they're not winning baseball games. They have a losing record. They have a negative, I believe, 20 run differential right now. So they just, at the end of the day, stating the obvious, they need Blake Snell to get right. Blake Snell, as he was not helping. He was an automatic chalk up the L when he was taking the ball, but they need him to get healthy. They need him to get right, and take it from there.
His season line, as it sets, 11 2/3 innings out of the gate, 15 earned runs on 18 hits, 2 homers, 5 walks, 12 strikeouts for an 11.57 ERA over those first 3 starts for Blake Snell. Opponents hitting
471 FIP though.
Yeah, so it's not terrible.
Well, I mean, it gives you a hope that we know he's not washed. It's Blake Snell. He's coming off a Cy Young.
He had a shitty spring setup. He was trying to get paid, and he hit the ground trying to get a job done, and he wasn't physically ready. It's that fucking simple, man. That's simple.
He's got he despite the 11.5 ERA, still had the best strikeouts per 9 on the staff.
Silver linings.
So hang with him. Paul Skenes, devastating news, Dallas.
I couldn't believe it. I'm surprised that they're going to keep him around.
Yeah.
I thought the future looked bright. I thought we had something. And boy, was I wrong. What does this asshole think he's doing, giving up a run? It's
kind of pathetic.
You want to get to the big leagues, Paul Skenes? Buddy, you can't give up a run. You can't do it.
No.
Poor
4 1/3. They let him pitch into the 5th this time. We're getting stretched here. 4 1/3, 5 hits, 2 runs, only 1 of them earned. He did walk a guy, punched out 7 more batters to bring his total to 34 strikeouts. Is that right? I feel like it's got to be more. No, 34 strikeouts in 17 innings.
No, you're right. It's 34.
34 strikeouts in 17 innings. Only allowed 1 earned run. The whip is 8.82. The 5 walks. 10 hits. I mean, 10 hits. I would ask for the baseball if I got a hit off Paul Skenes at this point, especially if I was in AAA at the time.
Well, yeah, the way that they're celebrating every ball this dude throws, not every outing, like every pitch he throws, there's a mild celebration. I mean, you can feel it in the fan base though, like just the clock is ticking.
Oh yeah.
Win, please win.
Yeah. He went on the Pat McAfee show. Did you catch that?
I did not know.
Yeah, so he went on with McAfee. By the way, it's hard to notice in baseball pants. Paul Skenes' quads, they look like fucking, it's crazy. Like it looks like he has 3 legs in one pant leg. They're massive. They're massive quads. They remind me of
another reason he should be in the fucking big leagues.
Yep. They remind me of Mike Hazen's quads.
Yeah.
General manager of the D-backs, massive quads. But Skenes was talking about his like pregame preparation, or like McAfee was like, do you have any hobbies away from baseball? And he's like, nope. It's a guy it's just baseball for me, which I feel like the biggest psychos, the most successful first rounders, like that's going to be their life. Obviously he's dating Livy Dunn, so he does have hobbies away from baseball. He's not completely focused on baseball, but
he's into a nice floor routine.
Yeah. Yeah. He's into it. And I think I forget like what the question was, but I know what the answer was. He was kind of asking him like, do you listen to like, what kind of music do you listen to while you're warming up? This motherfucker was listening to an audiobook when he was warming up for his start. Imagine that. Like, you are about to face a dude that is coming out throwing 102 mile an hour fastballs. You probably think he's listening to like death metal or some shit. No, he's listening to an audiobook. He's trying to bring his heart rate down and calm himself down, not get amped up to throw 102. And he's just slicing and dicing, making you look like an asshole all over Twitter, listening to an audiobook.
Yeah. Like, I need to know what book, but you can imagine him sitting there just like crushing the final page of The Horse Whisperer while he's putting together a game plan to go out and fucking dice you. Like, that's but you know what do they say? They say classical music operates on the same wavelength that the brain operates when retaining information. So classical music is something that you could play at low level in the background while studying or whatever. So maybe there's something to, low tones, slow dulcet tones, maybe during that moment for him.
I remember 10 years ago now at this point, I met Brock Holt for the first time at John Lester's like charity event in 2014. And I was like, dude, you gotta come to the plate with Brock Lesnar's entrance theme. Like, that would be sick. And he's like, I like listening to country because it just like reminds me of home. Like, I'm not trying to go up to the plate all amped up, like trying to fucking smash 800-foot home runs. Like, I'm just trying to like be relaxed and not let the moment get the best of me. So I listen to like a little country to come to the plate. And I'm like, I feel like if I were a big league, I mean, that's one of the most popular questions that like fans talk about. Is like, oh, if you were in the big leagues, what would your walk-up song be? And it's always like some pump-up song. But like actual big leaguers, they're not thinking that way. And especially like someone like Paul Skenes. It's like, I'm about to throw 102. I don't need, like, that's a God-given ability. I don't need to get all amped up and crush a fucking Red Bull off my skull and come into the game and like that. It's just you can just do it. You can roll out of bed and throw 100 plus.
Yeah, it's a different breed. It's a different animal.
Yeah. What do you think Mason Miller listens to before he comes into a game? He's not someone that's listening to classical.
He's a different cat. He's a different. He's not like super weird by any means. He's just it's funny because he is he's not an overly loud dude, and I mean, I'm sure a lot of that has to do with him just being a younger guy, but he's very, very quiet. He laughs and jokes with his teammates, but you can see as he moves around, he's not the guy holding court, and he just he operates differently. Like, when he walks on the field, he just looks a little different. He's just moving a little different. So he's not a guy that's looking to, get all amped up and headbutt the fucking bullpen wall before he runs out. No, that's not what he's doing. Yeah,
no.
he is a.
He has 20 strikeouts in 10 innings.
Yeah, there's a good chance you see him today.
Only 4 walks. That's what's crazy about Mason Miller is that for a dude that throws as hard as he does,
it's
he's got a good idea of where it's going.
Oh, it is. It's not 102 down the middle every time. That's not what it is. It's 102 dotted down and away. 103 dotted up and in. 90 dotted down and away. Like he's just he's so fucking fun to watch throw the ball.
Yeah. And people are like, we were a little bit ahead of the curve, but now I feel like, you know, he was our dirty little secret for a while, but he has become like,
oh dude,
this is a gross comparison. It's on a completely different scale. But when like Shohei Ohtani with the Angels, how everyone would just watch Shohei in awe. And it was like, he didn't belong to Angel fans, you know, like it wasn't like he's our superstar. It's like, no, like
baseballs.
To the game. Yeah. Like to the game, he's our superstar. Like Mason Miller is now becoming appointment watching for all baseball fans. Like obviously A's fans know what the deal is, but now he's kind of entering that pantheon of when he pitches, everyone is tweeting his highlights, even if you're an A's fan or not.
And A's fans jokingly were like, Dallas, shut your mouth. Do not tweet about Mason Miller. Do not say a word about Mason Miller. If you could, don't even commentate when he comes into the game, please.
Yeah.
And it's for that reason, because A's fans are like, well, great. Now people know who he is. The rest of the league knows he's this good. It's a matter of time. That's where A's fans go. You have to, I think we all understand why. So you can get it. But yeah, he's blossoming into a treat for the rest of the league to enjoy.
So he made 6 starts last year, 4 relief appearances. Was he throwing that hard last year as a starter? No way.
Oh yeah.
He was as a starter?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even fucking hear his name until this year.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and like towards and like before the blowout, like it was, you know, that's when they were like, well, it's 98. It's 98, 99. And there's some 7s in there. Like, is he okay? It's electric. It is pure electricity.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I knew, like, after his first appearance here in New York, the next 2 days have just been, yo, so like, what do you think the plan's going to be with him? Is he going to be around? Like you guys are talking about, you know, raising payroll. Is that going to be a guy you're keeping? You know, that's instantly where all these writers' brains go, is where is Mason Miller going to be when it comes time for him to either settle up or saddle up and move on out? They're already thinking about that.
Yeah. I got to meet this guy. When the A's come to town, Jayhay, how about another Fenway excursion together when the A's come to town? Would you be up for that?
Oh, I'd love to. You guys showed me a great time last time. I would love to do it again.
Yeah, let's do that. When the A's come to town, Jayhay in the house, Jake in the house, and I am going to stalk Mason Miller until I find him, meet him, and shake his hand.
I want you. So I'm going to put you on. I'll put you on the top step, and then because I want you to watch him walk out of the tunnel and into the dugout, and then up the steps. Because you're gonna watch. You might be eye level with him as he's at the bottom step, but then he's just
6'5"?
He's 6'5", 6'6".
Yeah.
And I think the program says he's 210, 215. That ain't fucking true.
No.
He's a brick shit house.
Is he a Texas boy?
No,
Pittsburgh.
From the Steel City, baby.
Pittsburgh.
Uh-huh.
What the fuck?
Yeah. But you're going to have that Ricky effect, but it's going to be because of his physicality. You're just going to be like, knew you're big. You are taking up a lot of space right now.
Yeah. I mean,
it's uncomfortable fucking talking to him. Like, I need you to be at the other end of the dugout when we talk, dude. because I'm not.
It's been a while since I've like fangirled over an active player like this. Like, when's the last time I've done this? Nolan Arenado, probably.
I was gonna say Nolan.
Yeah,
Nolan. You were fucking salad. I think you had your batting gloves on an hour before we started doing the interview with Nolan because we were gonna hit in the cage with him. And no. You know what?
That was before we met him in 19 when he came on the bus. Remember? And he fucking like the back. I felt like whatever part of the brain is back here where your crown is. Like I felt it explode because he came on the bus. And here I am about to meet my favorite like active player in Major League Baseball. And like at the time, he had no social media presence. Yeah. So like he didn't even have an account. So I'm thinking like he's off the grid. He has no idea who I am. He comes on the bus and he's like, "Hey man, congrats on the World Series." And I was like, "What? Like, how do you know who I am?"
Your original fangirl moment, Christian Yelich.
Yeah, I mean, but yes and no, because like Yelly.
Yes and no. You threatened physical harm to the man
if he went to the Yankees.
If he was going to the Yankees.
Yeah, but like I don't fangirl over Yelly because like we started following each other on Twitter before he even got called up. I think it was like he got drafted in the first round, and I was like, this lanky motherfucker looks like he's gonna be good someday. So like we started following each other. So like we had a relationship before he even got called up, I'm pretty sure. Like I remember talking to him the night that the Marlins played their first game after Jose Fernandez died. So like we at least had a rapport going back a while before we met like in person.
And what's really cool about that is we both were on the Yelly train because I remember when we first started together, I was like, look, dude, you remember me saying, this dude's going to win a fucking MVP. This dude's going to win a batting title. This dude is fucking solid. But yeah, I always remember you just like looking at him. I remember the video, like,
I'll fucking kill you. Yeah.
Yep. Mace. Yeah. You get an opportunity to give old Mace some lip service.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think it's weird now, like being in my mid 30s, and he's gonna be what 26 this year. It's
yeah,
like,
I think he's 25.
It feels weird to like be like a fan of someone that's like that much younger than you, but I can't help it. I can't help it. He is special.
Yeah, he's got you locked in.
Same thing with like I feel like I don't know like that's why I want to get Paul Skenes on the show. Like we've been following each other pretty much since he got drafted too. We've never talked. I'm saving it. I'll reach out probably, after I don't know when to reach out. Like, do you reach out now?
Oh, like, so I've laid the groundwork. I'm laying the groundwork.
You talked to him?
No, I haven't talked to him. No, but I'm laying the groundwork.
Okay.
Like,
yeah, because on McAfee's show, he said, I don't look at social media, but I mean, like, you have it and we follow each other. So like, are you saying that you don't look at your mentions, or like if I DM you, will you see that because it's private? I don't know.
Yeah, I would really, really love for Paul Skenes to get a phone call within the next couple days. That'd be really exciting.
Realistically, Jayhay, how many more starts do you see Paul Skenes making in AAA before he gets the call?
So he threw 71 pitches. Is that right? In this start? 71, 72? All right, so you got to...
He threw 71.
All right, so 71 in this one. Yep. 72 in the next one. 73. 74. I don't know what the number they're trying to get to is, but we did the... What was it yesterday? We did the when will the White Sox get to double-digit wins? When will Paul Skenes get called up? Honestly, man, I mean, how much more of this can the fan base possibly take? I'll say 2 more starts. 2 more. And then up.
Look, I hate to say it like this. I hate to say it like this. Kind of a tough spot for me here, but when did he start? Yesterday?
Yeah.
5 days from now, if they were looking to get Paul Skenes to the big leagues and were looking for maybe a softer landing than some other places might provide for Mr. Skenes in the next week and a half, 2 weeks or so. I think you could look 5 days from now and figure out where they're playing. And that could be a place.
Yeah.
That place is Oakland.
Yeah, that's where stars are born, brother.
That's a fact.
Yeah.
That's an absolute fact.
I mean, Fisher was just talking about that. Come through and see stars like Paul Skenes play.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. Yep. You did say that. Just quickly, last thing I got here, Max Scherzer, he felt good in his last rehab start, so he's making his comeback soon. But he also had the idea, he said umpires should have a relegation system.
I mean,
their union is too strong. It's a nice idea, but the union is too strong.
Yeah, that idea, I mean, that idea has been floated before.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's nothing that's nothing new. Yeah.
But now that you have like the umpire scorecards and everything, like before it was kind of just subjective to be like, well, this umpire sucks. Mm-hmm. Well, now with like umpire scorecards, you can kind of definitively say that they suck or not.
There's I just spent some time yesterday in New York at the offices.
Oh yeah, I forgot to ask you about that.
Major League Baseball and the umpire replay room, and so I did. I got to have a very thorough conversation with some folks who are in the middle, right in the thick of what's going on in the moment in that room, and then also, you know, if you just kind of zoom out a little, what's going on in the world of baseball, the relationship between umpires, Major League Baseball, and you know what they're trying to do to continue to strengthen that relationship, but also understanding that Major League Baseball has put a lot on the plate of umpires. And I personally think we're at a point where you have to start examining what you want these individuals to do, and you have to put a cap on what you believe they're responsible for. Because I agree with Max in the idea that the human element has to stay. But we also have to figure out a way to make sure that with what comes with the human element doesn't become so problematic that it is now taking over the product. And I'm not saying this because we've been on the losing end of these games, but folks on both sides, 2 out of the 3 games that we've played here in New York have had, and I don't know, I'd have to go back and look at some of the other umpiring scoring, but I would venture to guess that the game that Hunter Wendelstedt did behind home plate in the A's-Yankee series and the game that John Tumpane did behind home plate in this series, I would venture to guess that those are 2 of the top 5 worst games called this year. That's just off the top of my head, having no idea what any other really bad performances may have looked like. That's what I think. And I think people are just frustrated because you have the visual on your TV and you see where a ball lands, and we know that it shakes itself out to some degree. A ball that gets called a strike that gets called a ball. The problem is when it starts to come down to crunch time and then we put numbers to it. You know, I don't want to get into it, but like we said, the A's lost a 1-run game and had the bat taken out of 2 of their 3 players' hands in that 1-run game in the 9th inning, the most pivotal part of the game. And the total amount of missed calls that went the Yankees' way amounted to just over a run's worth of value, 1.14 or something like that. So fans at home are seeing those numbers and they're looking at the scoreboard going, well, damn, if the umpires gave them, you know, over a run's worth of bad calls and they beat us by 1 run, well, how do we fix that? How do we address that? So
I also think like the elephant in the room here as it relates to umpiring specifically is that because these sports are in bed with sports betting and stuff like that, there's so much information available in terms of what Dallas was talking about in terms like umpire accuracy and stuff like that in a way that wasn't even available 5 years ago. That when you provide the fans, and in some cases the bettors, with all of this information after the fact, and there's no outward accountability for umpires, for fans or bettors to consume in any sort of way, whether there is any behind the scenes accountability is a separate question, but also probably more or less no. Then you are inviting conspiracy theories. You're inviting people to fill the vacuum of information with the most nefarious possible explanations. And that's not good for the sport in any way, shape, or form. And it's not good for the umpires either, frankly. And so that's why, to me, that's the most important reason why there needs to be umpire accountability. I actually think, from an aesthetics perspective, I hate more replay in sports. That's true for baseball, it's true for basketball, and it's true for football. For me personally, I don't think the viewing experience as an entertainment product is better since the advent of instant replay. In fact, I think it's probably marginally worse because it interrupts the flow of play. It grinds down some of the most dramatic moments. It's the worst in the NBA and the NFL, in my opinion, but it is leaked over into baseball too. But you can't put that back in the can because all that information is available to the fan, whether Major League Baseball wants to implement it or not. So they have to go down the replay road. So my hope is that at least there is umpire accountability. They need to take a more progressive stance as it relates to dealing with the umpires, even if the union is strong. I just think it's better for the health of the sport moving forward.
And this is the tough spot we're in too, Jayhay, is are you trying to change things overnight? Are you trying to keep things as much as they are the same? And I think what you have to realize is if you try to pull replay out of this game or out of sports in general, what you're asking the fans, everybody involved, is to ignore the fact that we have the capability to get every call correct. That's where we're at with our technology, right? Like if you're telling me that there's a definitive strike zone, well, then that obviously means that there's a way for us to determine if a pitch entered or crossed that zone. We have the technological capability to do that. So then the question becomes, why wouldn't you do that? Why wouldn't you want to get every call correct? Especially when we're talking about how much money these competitions generate and how much money is on the line in these competitions, right? We know how much money you make when you get to the postseason and when you win in the postseason. And if you have wrong calls or incorrect calls being made to a point where you feel like that's inhibiting your ability to get to the postseason to chase those paychecks, but we have the technological capability to get those calls right, you're going to have a lot of people going, why aren't we doing that? What are we doing? And like the whole slide at second base, keeping the tag on a guy because there's disengagement for that split second between his hand hitting the bag and then his space covers and then his legs come on. Like those little moments, like you're saying, that absolutely interrupts it. But I would ask what you would say to a fan or to a team who just watched that call get made and then that call stays, but everybody in the free world just watched him come off the bag. Everybody in the free world sees the glove on him while he's off the bag. So you're going to ask everybody to go, so just don't look at that part. Don't look at that part. Like he got there early. He was there first. And the rules tell you that if I tag you and you're not on the bag, you're out. And I know that's what's happening right here. And it's the ninth inning and it's the ALCS. But let's not look at that.
No, I get it.
You can't do that.
No, you can't. You can't have one side have all the information and one pretend like the other, like all the information doesn't exist. I'm just saying, like, when calls got fucked up 25 years ago, that fucked with people's money, but it was a very limited pool of people whose money got fucked with. Maybe the owner of the team, or like, you know, the players who didn't get the World Series share or whatever it might be, or like, you know, the very, very corners of the betting world. Now you fuck up that call and it's broadcast.
Now Jimmy Bones.
Yeah, now, and it's broadcast all over social media. It's broadcast on SportsCenter the day after. It's broadcast instantaneously at the sports books or whatever. Like, you are fucking with so many people's money now that, like, and I'm not talking about organized crime even. I'm just saying, like, the sheer number of people that fucks with now is just untenable for Major League Baseball to continue acting like they do. And here's the thing. One more thing. The NBA has the last 2-minute report, right? Which a lot of people criticize and say, what is the purpose of this last 2-minute report? What are we accomplishing here with a hindsight view of the missed calls that, just like the Sixers Knicks had a game the other day where the NBA came out after the playoff game, where the NBA came out after the fact and said that 2 fouls were missed on Tyrese Maxey, a Sixers player that would have otherwise swung the game potentially in the Sixers' favor down the stretch. Sixers lost the game to go down 0-2. And, you know, what is that accomplishing other than making people mad after the fact? And, you know, it was rightly pointed out, I think, that it's creating a database of, like, misses and corrections and what is missed and when they are missed and things like that, like, yeah, maybe nothing can be done about it right now, but it does provide a pathway to maybe, like, making the officiating experience and thus the viewing experience better down the road. So, like, even something like that, that wasn't hidden, that wasn't buried, that was just kind of put out there by Major League Baseball and not just, like, you know, via the umpire auditor or whatever that Twitter account is after the fact, like that to me would be, well, at least a step.
You know what I just thought about? Different sports and their different replay capability or willingness to replay certain plays and how that's handled is sort of like walking into a casino and having your choice of games to play, right? You want roulette, you know what those odds are. You want blackjack, you know what those odds are. You want to go to the craps table, best odds in the house, you know what those odds are. So if you're sitting down in a sports book and you're thinking about laying money, do you now think about the willingness of an industry and their capability when it comes to getting calls right? Is that something you're gauging? Because, hey, I'd like to bet this baseball game, but one thing I remember is a ball that is fair or foul on the infield, replay can't help me. They're not gonna get that call right or correct. That's going to be up to the umpire's discretion. So I'm getting into this. I'm playing this game. I'm betting this based on the mechanics of how the rules are instituted and how they're applied, right? Like if you sit down at the blackjack table, you know it's soft 17. The dealer hits on soft 17. You got a pretty good idea of what it means when you see the dealer showing a 7. Like, you got an idea of what you should do. So I think about, like you said, Jayhay, people's money and being in bed with betting and being in bed with sports books. I think that's also something folks maybe consider or should start to consider.
It's an interesting conversation. I mean, it's we've never had more information than we do right now. It's a matter of what they do with it now that they have it. And some of it's not perfect. Not all of it's perfect. But I think as far as evaluating umpires' performances, we have a pretty good idea of who's good and who's bad, who did a good job and who did a poor job, which is why the umpire scorecards are so popular when they do come out. And people will wait for them. You know? Yeah.
People want to know.
Like, people will watch a game and be like, can't wait for that. Fuck it. Like they don't. It used to be, oh man, I can't wait to see what they say about my team on SportsCenter tomorrow morning. Now it's, I can't wait to see that fucking umpire scorecard tomorrow. So yeah, I guess we'll see as time evolves how the situation progresses. But before we get out of here, Jayhay, we got some nugs coming out of that oven.
Little Thursday Nug Drop for us here.
Yes.
I have been overloading Baseball Reference this morning. I've crashed search engine several times. I was trying to do it on my phone while I was hanging out with my daughter, and I had to put that away. And I said, I need the full computing power of my computer to be able to run this. So here's a bunch of what we got this morning. We'll start with the easy stuff. Just straight kind of last slash line here. Gunnar Henderson, last 10 games, 450, 511, 925. That works out to an OPS of 1.436. And he's got 5 homers over those 10 games. So here's a question for you guys. Maybe there's a jersey bet. Maybe there's a jersey bet in here. Who knows? Depending on how passionately we feel. The big 3 in Baltimore, maybe it doesn't play out this way, but right now, the 3 most touted guys are Adley Rutschman, Gunnar Henderson, and Jackson Holliday. Okay? Who do you guys think ends up as having the best career, being the most important player of that trio of players in the end?
Adley. Adley ain't going anywhere, and he is going to lead the next great Baltimore Oriole rotation. Fact.
Okay.
I don't know. That's a tough question.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's not. It's an easy question because we're talking about a fucking switch-hitting, power-providing catcher who has not allowed his team to be swept in the regular season since he fucking showed up. You don't just overlook that shit. For a guy who wants to talk about the spine of a roster, that's where you start, right there. The dude putting the fingers down who is impacting every single fucking pitch that comes out of the hand of the guys you are charging to give you a chance to win this game.
Subjective. Like I'm thinking more statistically, like who's the better player out of that group, who becomes the best player out of that group. Like I think they all have a strong case.
We're talking about impact. Didn't you say like impact? Who's going to have the most impact?
Yeah, I mean,
wasn't that part of what you said?
I didn't say who's going to have the most wins above replacement, so I left some room for interpretation.
Room for subjectivity.
We're not going to do a jersey bet because I think this is a little bit too complicated for it, but I think I was just kind of curious because
No.
I mean, with the way Gunnar Henderson is hitting, if he is an actual middle of the order bat who can play multiple defensive positions, some competently, some better than, then I think it becomes a much more interesting question than it looked like maybe before Gunnar got hot, where it's like you could easily default to Adley for all the reasons you guys are talking about. Like, I know his surface level offensive stats are still like, well, he's not quite like prime Buster Posey yet, and that's true, but like a 130 OPS plus out of a switch hitting catcher who's like definitely not a defensive liability for you is, to say the least, is like an it is a down ballot MVP type of player. It's not an MVP winning player yet, but it is a down ballot. But Gunnar Henderson performing at or near this level may be an MVP winning caliber player. I mean, he's probably not going to keep up a 199 OPS plus, but like this may be like a full on offensive breakout that we're seeing.
Yeah. See, for me, the part of the catcher, the difficult part ever comparing what a catcher does is because all you can give me is what his ERA when he's in the game. Like as far as his impact on the pitching staff, think about that. How else outside of his framing statistics, right? And his efficiency in controlling the running game, how do we gauge a catcher's impact?
Well, there's certainly more gray area gauging a catcher's impact than there are positions at just every other position in Major League Baseball for the reasons that you're talking about. Because you can't just assign catcher ERA and say that 100% of the credit for that goes to the catcher, nor can you say 50% of it goes to the catcher and 50% of it goes to the pitcher, because we've seen plenty of instances recently where I had to spend
execution.
Yeah. And whatever. But like narrative wise, I had to spend full fucking seasons hearing about how Gary Sanchez was single-handedly ruining like the Yankees pitching staff and specifically Garrett Cole. And Cole had to pitch to this dickhead over here who was swinging a wet noodle every time he went up to the plate. And then, you know what? Gary Sanchez goes to another team, and you know what happens? He reels off an entire season where he has by far the best catcher ERA on not only his team, but one of the best catcher ERAs in baseball, in part because you know who we got to catch a couple of times? Blake Snell. Yeah. Right? Like, so it's like,
yeah,
Yeah. So like, what are we doing here? I don't know. It is gray, but.
Well, that's my whole point. That's my whole point is, and that's why I feel the way I do, is because I know and have lived the importance of the guy 60 and a half feet away from me. And I know what he means, because I was going to give you the example. You got a rangy shortstop. Who does he help? The guy to his left and the guy to his right. Right? Those are the impacts that he makes. And we can talk about the impact that he might have on the outfielders, center field and left field, because of his ability to cover ground. Fair. So I'll give you 4 players that he's impacted because of his positioning. The catcher impacts 13. And on any given night, 4 or more every single night. He's got all guys in the rotation, everybody down there in the arm barn, and everybody in between. Because he's handling the AAA guys too, Jared. Because you think a bullpen staying with just the same cats all season long? Nay. So I've always thought, like, how are you telling me how great of an impact this catcher has when outside of how he's catching the baseball and how efficiently he's throwing guys out, you don't really have much else to give me?
All right, we get it. You love your catchers.
I also just think that there isn't a wrong answer.
No.
You know, like,
well, that's some of the best questions.
God bless the Orioles, because, you know, like, the fact that it's an impossible question to answer, you're in a good spot when there's 3 candidates for the decision.
They have 93 first rounders.
Yeah.
All right. Sometimes we take a tangent on the Nug Pack, and that was one of them. That was just Nug number 1. So we will pick it up from here. I got several requests, believe it or not, several requests to look into Ronaldo Lopez. So I had to deliver today. Just a quick rattling of things that I found, not even necessarily connected things. 4th in Major League Baseball among qualified pitchers in win probability added, thanks to a 0.72 ERA across 4 starts. Lefties, Ronaldo Lopez is obviously a righty. Lefties are hitting 5 for 32 against him. That's 156 in 2024. He is ball in the strike zone at a career low rate of 46%, which is, as I said, a career low rate, and also noticeably below the MLB average, which sits at about 49%. And pitch-wise, he's throwing his curveball 11.5% of the time. That would be his highest single-season usage rate on that pitch since 2017, and he's allowed 0 hits in 31 total thrown. So not a ton of curveballs thrown, big picture-wise, but 0 hits in 31 thrown with a 55.6% whiff rate. So that's a little Ronaldo Lopez mini breakdown for you. Onto some more exciting stuff. Well, let's get the negative out of the way first. Corbin Carroll, I believe he was part of a previous Nug Pack, perhaps, but a revisit on him. I think it's time. I think he was my MVP pick, so I'm trying to be a unbiased reporter here. I think it's time to get very concerned because not long term, but like as it relates to what's happening right now. And it kind of leaks back into last season. If you look at what he did from the start of last season through June 17th, which if you guys remember the kind of ebb and flow of the NL MVP conversation last year on our podcast, there was a period of time where Corbin Carroll started to get some buzz, right? Before Acuna had fully established himself as the lead horse, before like Mookie had gone, red hot on his end. There was a Corbin Carroll period because the D-backs were also better than people thought. Through June 16th of last year, he was tied for 3rd in Major League Baseball among position players in wins above replacement. The only people who were ahead of him were Acuna and Freddie Freeman, okay? From June 18th, the next day, through present day today, he ranks 64th in wins above replacement among qualified batters, okay? So first half of last year did a lot of damage. From the middle of last year through the present, he has been the 64th best position player in baseball. If you look at only 2024, so just what he's done this year, he ranks tied for 124th. He has basically been a replacement level player, despite all the other things that he does well, other than hit. He's still been just replacement level. That's how poor his hitting has been. So that was a quick breakdown on Corbin Carroll, something to monitor, but he's been very, very bad. And you have to wonder if,
I just, totally right. Just Jayhay, taking a look at something here. He has seen the fewest amount of pitches in the strike zone in his young career at this point, and he's also making more contact with those pitches outside of the strike zone than he ever has before in his career.
Could be producing some weak little bullshit contact, right? Like
that's exactly what's happening. Is not only are they not throwing him strikes, he's going fishing and he's catching, but he ain't catching keepers.
Yeah,
he ain't catching keepers.
That's not what we want. We need authority. We trade back some of that swing and miss and get authority back into the baseball.
Yeah, we need. Yeah.
Shohei Ohtani, big star in Major League Baseball. He has 6 homers, 5 stolen bases, and 14 doubles. He's gone doubles crazy at Dodger Stadium this year. That's through his first 26 games of the season. The only other player ever to produce those marks, so at least 6, 14, and 5, through their first 26 games of a season, in any season ever, is Torrey Hunter in 2007.
Torrey.
So you think about pretty like magma hot starts in terms of counting stats to begin a season. That's what Ohtani's doing. If you like doubles, homers, and stolen bases, only guy to ever approach what he's doing right now to start a year is what Torrey Hunter did 17 years ago. In terms of starts to the season, so Elly De La Cruz, he's starting to rack up some insane numbers, counting stats, rate stats, no matter how you slice it. Firstly, for his career, he reached the nice round numbers of 20 career homers and 50 career stolen bases. That's where he's at right now. He did that in 122 career games, okay? Now, I tried to find the fewest number of total games to reach those marks in a career, and Baseball Reference wasn't working with me this morning to run that. I crashed it half dozen times. But what I was able to find is that the fewest games ever in a single season, where there have only been 21 seasons in baseball history where a guy produced a 2050 year, okay? 21 seasons ever. The fewest games played in one of those seasons is 128 by, coincidentally enough, former Cincinnati Red Eric Davis. So while it's spread across 2 seasons, Elly De La Cruz has hit 2050 in 122 games, which would be the fewest games ever in a 2050 season if it was over 1 year. Another way to look at this, okay? He has just this season, in 24 games played, he has 15 stolen bases, 7 homers, a .313 batting average, and a 1.063 OPS, okay? He is the only player in MLB history to rack up at least a .300 batting average, 5 homers, so I lowered the threshold on the homers, 5 homers, 15 stolen bases, and a nice even 1.000 OPS through their first 24 games of a season. No one has ever done what Elly De La Cruz has done through the first 24 games of any season ever in MLB history. That's where he's at right now. So I know we all appreciate Elly.
Killing it for my fantasy team right now, by the way.
We won't talk about
that smells like a graphic, Jayhay.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
I'll text Corey afterwards.
Yeah, that definitely smells like a graphic to me.
And the White Sox, let's end on a negative note, because why wouldn't I want to do that? The 2024 White Sox, after dropping the game last night, are now 3-21 in March and April. That's bad. You might be asking yourself, just how bad is that? Okay. So in the entire history of Major League Baseball in March and April, okay, they haven't always played, just a quick history lesson, they haven't always started baseball in late March or early April. There were plenty of years in baseball history where baseball didn't get started until like April 15th. But if you set a minimum of 20 games played in March and April for a team, so that gives you like, I think 1,000 team seasons worth of years. Okay. The worst single season record in March and April by a team, so basically the worst start to a season through the first month, is the 1988 Baltimore Orioles, who went 1-22 in March and April.
They won one game?
One game?
They won one game. The White Sox of this year are tied for the second worst winning percentage ever in March and April right now with the infamous 2003 Detroit Tigers, who also went 3-21. So the White Sox have more games in April. Obviously, they will end up playing more games than either one of these teams. They can't possibly catch the Orioles for win percentage because the Orioles lost 22 of 23 games. But they are in a heated battle with the Detroit Tigers right now of 2003 for the second worst single season start in baseball history. So that's something to monitor, something to be proud of for the White Sox. And I believe
I think the 88 Orioles is crazy.
That's the Nug Pack. Yeah.
One.
Yeah, how far they've come. They've come. It just took 36 years.
1988 Baltimore Orioles schedule. I want to know who they beat. That shitbag team. Imagine playing a month of baseball in one game.
They finished 54-107 that year.
The game that they won, they beat the White Sox of all teams 9-0. They kicked their ass.
Wow. So they enjoyed that game.
Yeah.
At least. Yeah, they lost their first 21 games of the season.
Yeah. They went on to their overall record wasn't as bad as I thought that it would be. I mean, 54-107.
Well, once you dig yourself a 21 game deficit, yeah, grinding out 54 and $1.07 is pretty good. Actually, yeah. I agree. Could have laid down and won like 30
They got
games.
hot for a second. They started off the season with a 21 game losing streak. Man,
that's tough.
Yeah, they didn't get to. So to kind of a callback to our conversation about the White Sox and when they were going to reach double-digit wins, the 1988 Orioles started off 0-21. They had one win going into May, but they still reached 10 wins before June. They got their 10th win on May 29th. So anything can happen, as they say.
Anything can
happen.
Don't give up, Dallas. Don't give up, man.
I'm riding.
You got this, dude. Dallas, any final thoughts today?
Final thoughts.
Any series you like this weekend? You're going to see Jackson Holiday up close.
That's was going to be my final thought.
Please.
I'm going to Baltimore, and I thought about buying a fishing game. Just for old time's sake.
Mm-hmm.
Me and Jackson do a little fishing out in the outfield together. No, but yeah, that's my final thought. It's going to be really cool. Because it's one of those moments where I'm not saying if my arm worked that I would still be pitching. I'd probably be done for sure. I'm 40 years old. Arm hurts like a motherfucker. But how cool is it to be able to go and compete against like a teammate's child, right? So I'm not going to do that, but I'm going to be watching a teammate's child in the big leagues. That's really cool.
That is cool. Jayhay, any thoughts on going up against Joseph this weekend and how you pretty much have exclusively only played against Baseball is Dead co-hosts?
Yeah.
Well, it's been a fruitful experience so far in the Baseball is Dead kind of round table for the Guards so far. I mean, yeah, the Braves are on paper the best of those teams that we've faced, but I don't think it's a coincidence that we're seeing Joey around here less and less as the Guards rise and Spencer Strider gets hurt. It's just kind of like
it's damning.
Ducking.
Yeah. So there's that. And I just think I think we're going to be fine. I'm ready to go. I'm ready for them to test. That's a real offense. That's a real offense to go up against. So we'll see how Cleveland's.
Oh, we kicked your ass last night.
Pretty banged up. Well, yeah. Well, no, I'm glad. You know what? That is my final thought. I'm glad you brought up last night because I was going to be classy and let it pass, but I am going to not do that now. We were Jared brought up the lovely meeting and dinner we had last night, which was lovely. What was not lovely about it though was that I'm not going to name the restaurant, of course, because I don't want to ruin people's livelihoods.
2 restaurants.
Yeah. We were in the heart of Fenway. Okay. Boston, Massachusetts, cobblestone streets, and they could not blew us off and never got to it.
Incapable.
Were technologically incapable of putting the Red Sox game on TV, Red Sox Guards, on TV for us to consume. There ended up being, it was like Steve huddled around his phone, Steve and Jake watching their phones because they were unable to watch the game on TV casually while we were eating dinner or in the next place while we had an after dinner cocktail. So it was like a skit, honestly, where we were and what we were unable to do. It was just, and people on Twitter have tried to explain it, not explain away, but explain like, oh, well, there's this package and then like then you would have to have the separate Nesson thing. And it's like, I don't give a fuck. I don't care what the explanation is. You are a bar restaurant in Fenway. You could throw a stick at the stadium and you are unable to put it on when the 2 other sports are playing. This is not the eclipse. Like, these 3 sports interact all the time, particularly in Boston, where the hockey and basketball teams routinely go to the postseason. So that was a real eye opener for me in what I thought was one of the more hardcore sports cities on America. Maybe there's some rot going on in the heart right now.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. I'm not even going to sit here and try to defend this. They didn't have the Red Sox game on. We went to 2 different places. Neither of them had the ability to put the Red Sox game on. You could see Fenway Park. You could look out the window and there it is. It's right there. No Sox. They got the Celtics on. They got the Bruins on.
What do you want to watch it for? We'll open the window. You can hear the ball game.
But they weren't home. They were in Cleveland.
Oh, yeah. Never mind.
Yeah. So, yeah. It was bad. I mean, it's kind of just where the Red Sox are at right now. They got a winning record, and we can't even get the game on TV.
If you have bestowed upon your employees the responsibility to cook food and serve drinks, then you should also give them the ability to change the TV channel.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a responsibility too great for the people that I saw at that restaurant last night. They could have handled it. They were willing to, I think. The law said no.
Law shut them down.
Crazy shit, man.
Wish I had a comeback, but I don't.
Nope.
Sad state of affairs here.
Yeah, tough scene when
it's great
Red Sox,
but
the Red Sox guy can't get the Red Sox game on TV in Boston.
I love the direction that Dallas is taking this. It's my fault.
We would have had better luck getting into Fenway Park and running the bases, I think. Through Jared's connections last night, than we would have watching the baseball game on a television.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. Sad state.
They weren't even, the employees didn't seem particularly embarrassed about it either, which also bothered. We don't have to belabor this, but that also bothered me a little bit, where it was just like, you should be a little bit ashamed.
Yeah.
No, there's a sense of pride in that. Oh, no, we can't. You got the bees on, you got the Celts on. Like, we can't. I'm sorry, we just can't. I'd love to help you out, but we fucking, it's really cool that I just fucking can't change the channel, right? You're going to tell the story. It's fucking, no. No, nothing cool about it. It's not a stripe. Fucking beat it.
Jake's takes?
It wasn't just that they couldn't put the game on. It was just like the answers were infuriating. Like, it's just impossible to get the game on. Like, we're sitting right outside Fenway Park, and like, I just can't accept impossible as an answer in that scenario.
Me neither. But, whatever.
Bad look.
We had it on our phones. We still watched the game.
We were watching it in our hearts.
Nope, we watched it on our phones. Red Sox kicked the Guardians' ass. That's probably another reason why Jayhay's mad. But, I'm with him. It's not a good look. It's not a good look for us. Especially when it was multiple bars. Multiple. They were like,
we left the first one explicitly because we were going to the second bar to watch the game. We were like, let's go to the second bar so that we can watch the game.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Yep. No. The answer was no.
Nope.
All right. Enjoy your weekend of baseball. Dodgers, Blue Jays. That'll be cool. Braves, Guards, as we said. Yankees, Brewers. Okay. Battle of the 8-loss teams. Okay. D-backs, Mariners. Pretty evenly matched. All right. Phillies, Padres. That'll be cool. And how about a little Royals, Tigres? Couple of teams that maybe don't get enough love, but are pretty evenly matched as well. They will be going head to head. Some good series this weekend. So take some time. Ignore your family. Cancel any plans. Don't hang out with your kids. If you've got to do some work around the house, don't. Plenty of great baseball this weekend. Enjoy it. We'll be back here on Monday to discuss it all.
Wow.